New Zealand is in the South Pacific Ocean, 4,000 miles from Australia, world's third most peaceful nation. However, its massive mountain ranges, stunning lakes, and organic cuisine make New Zealand famous worldwide. The Lord of the Rings was shot in New Zealand, as you may know. In that gorgeous movie, New Zealand has chilly summers, long winters, and lots of rain, like the UK. Despite that, New Zealand's population is under 7% of the UK's. This map of New Zealand shows that 80% of the country is uninhabited with few people. About 70% of New Zealanders live in the North Island, and half of them dwell in Auckland. The world map in this video shows that New Zealand is far from the rest of the world. For instance, a ship from Karachi or Mumbai crosses the Arabian Sea and Indian Ocean, and flying from there to New York takes 18-22 hours. How did people arrive here so far from the world? Multiple perspectives exist. New Zealand was discovered by the Maori people between 1,320 and 1,350, according to New Zealand's official website. Official sources called them residents of Polynesian islands. They left these islands, boarded big ships, and came to New Zealand while the Mongols and Genghis Khan were conquering Asia. But Maori history shows a difference. Around 758 AD, Kupe discovered New Zealand. Kupe fished for himself and his crew. However, local octopuses were grabbing the fish every time he placed his nets, and they wouldn't let go. Since fish was their main meal, this was a major issue. Kupe and some friends traveled by sea to find a solution. An island-like environment with lots of food and drink was their goal. Kupe landed 20-25 soldiers in the Pacific Ocean on this expedition. They saw large mountains on the island after a few days of travel. This new place had fish, sheep, goats, and fruits, and no one else. The location was ideal for Kupe and his tribe. A couple of his soldiers returned to the Polynesian islands to promote this new island, so more people settled there in the 17th century. People in the village lived quietly, isolated from the world. They had no opponents or threats due to their distance. Everything was about to alter soon. Western nations were spreading globally at this period. European nations were sending explorers to find new continents and countries to gain dominance. In this case, Dutch adventurer Abel Tasman was sent to investigate a continent south of the Pacific Ocean. Europeans believed there must be a continent in this area, which would give them many opportunities. After discovering New Zealand in 1642, Tasman fled after a ferocious Maori brawl prevented him from landing. In 1769, British officer James Cook discovered New Zealand while searching for the same continent. James's men fought the Maori again, killing many. That forced James to retreat. James created a thorough map of the route this time, and Europeans reached New Zealand in the 18th century using it. This time, they cleverly lured the Maori with trade and profit. New Zealand joined Europe and the British Empire after the Treaty of Waitangi was signed in 1840. The Maori population was roughly 200,000 then, but it plummeted to 40,000 during the next 100 years. There were two key causes. Europeans brought European diseases with them. Second, the British and Maori fought 40 years of land battles. These fights killed many local Moris, and in 1881, most Maori leaders were killed, and the Maori movement was defeated. By then, the British realized they needed indigenous input to develop. After these wars, the British government included locals in elections and development projects. The route to peace and progress in New began when we set up the holder. As shown at the beginning of the film, why is so much of New Zealand's area empty, and why do most Northern Irish people dwell here? Southern New is uninhabited since living or building there is practically impossible. Southern New Hampshire has many mountain ranges. Tall mountains surround the region, making it impossible to build roads and other infrastructure. The eastern side of the mountains is stony and unproductive, making irrigation and other activities unfeasible. That's why most people live in Northern Ireland. After World War II, the new administration loosened immigration laws to address demographic shortages. Before World War II, non-whites couldn't enter New Zealand. Therefore, the population stagnated until the 1952. Following the lifting of Asian restrictions, people from China, the Philippines, and India began to settle here, leading to a steady increase in population. NZ has 28.8% immigrants born outside the country. Most immigrants dwell in Auckland and adjacent areas, making it one of the most expensive cities. Limited land supply and strong house demand are the issues. The New Zealand government is providing people up to $8,000 to move 100 kilometers outside Auckland to address this issue. It is intriguing that the whole New Zealand farm business relies on exporting beef. Northern Ireland has lots of sheep, goats, and cattle, because the rain makes the terrain green. The sheep population in New Zealand is estimated at 23.6 million, despite its 5.3 million population. New Zealand exports the most mutton and sheep wool because of that. New exported 95% of its meat in 2019, earning $46 billion. The 50th largest economy in the world, New Zealand, relies on agricultural exports. Love today's video? Subscribe to the channel. All our sources are in the description below.